What's up? Travel Chronicles, chapter 123 or 4, somewhere around there. Wanted to talk about the game Friday, announcing. The football was good. If you're a Ferry fan, they pretty well smacked the other team, but I don't think the other team was that good, and apparently maybe they were missing a bunch of players from the first week, so they were in trouble. But good for Ferry to win 2 in a row and really beat a team that they should have beat. Right? They didn't play down to the level of competition. They didn't get tripped up or anything like that. They just went out, executed, did their stuff, made plays on defense, made plays on special teams. Like really a complete game by the starting unit. And then shut them out the first half. Second half, I'd never seen this. I'd seen where they played with continuous clock before. They actually shortened the quarters to 8 minutes. Just, I think, to avoid further injury for the other team. But I don't know that anybody got hurt. Like there was one player that got carted off. I didn't even have his name on the sheet, who it was. So maybe that was their fault, right? Because he wasn't on the roster. So, whoops. But they ended up scoring a couple of points, a couple of touchdowns late with the younger guys in, and one of the younger guys. Mom's actually commented like, well, he scored a touchdown. The backup quarterback, or the younger quarterback, I don't know if he's like the first backup, but he scored a touchdown late in the game, and the family's going crazy. The parents actually were able to record it, so that's kind of cool. And they posted it on Facebook, and then Dina commented on it. I was like, oh, that's so awesome, congratulations. She's like, oh, your husband did so good announcing. I was like, you don't have to, please stop. Please don't stop. Don't stop. Keep going. But Friday wasn't my best night. Like, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be perfectly honest. And I'm going to call it like one of those Michael Phelps training moments. He had I can't remember the name of his coach. He's like a crazy coach, but he did all this stuff to him to prepare him to win. The 8 gold medals when he went to China, right? That was the whole thing. Like, you're going to China, you're going to win 8 gold medals, right? He was at the other Olympics. He won like 7 medals or something, and a couple of bronzes or a silver. But he was going there. He was going to win 8 gold. He was going to gold medal in every event that he was in. So. The coach would do stuff to him when he would go to these other meets. He would take his goggles and like stomp them so that they wouldn't hold water. He'd take stuff out of his bag so he couldn't find his stuff, like the stuff that he wanted to wear to race. Just throw curveballs at him constantly. So Friday night was the Hall of Fame night, and I don't have like an itinerary or a schedule of what the event's going to be. I kind of know because we did it last year, and I think it was the first game actually. So the guy who was announced and I took over for actually did all the stuff for it. But what it amounted to was the other team does the pregame, our band does the anthem, and then at halftime is just the ceremony. Well, we have a new athletic director, and he wasn't like aware of what the stuff was supposed to be going on. So at halftime, so I get the sheet when I get there, like the booklet of who's in it, and I don't have time to go through and whittle it all down. So my plan was going in that I would take care of the roster stuff first, get the names, try to get the lineups. And then come back when the other team was doing their halftime routine for the pregame. I would, mark up the book what I wanted to say, the Hall of Fame book. Well, I get completely flustered, right? I go to get the rosters, and coach for the other team's telling me their rosters, but he's going through and he's like, this guy's starter, this guy's starter. He's like, well, that guy's defense only. So eventually, like, we figure out who's offense and defense. But the way I marked them down, like, I had in my mind what I wanted to do, and then, because the way he was telling me the names, like, I screwed it up. So I go and get fairies, and I've got this, sweet idea to highlight the name. I've got 2 sheets of fairies, so I'm going to do offense one, defense the other, right? Smart. So I get up there, and I'm getting short on time because they're going to do the pregame, so now I've got to start everything a little bit early. And I go to do the starting thing, and right off the bat I miss. Tonight's game is between the visiting Bears and your home Purple Riders, and I missed that part. And I realize I missed that part when I go on to something else, and I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to get back to that, so I just skip it. Moving on. It's still early. Maybe people won't catch on. So I hope there's not people that are like looking forward to that already. If they are, sorry, screwed that one up. But you don't know that I screwed up because I just keep on going. I get to the starting lineups, and I forgot the referee thing. So I had a great idea last week that for the officials, in order to find out, if there was any weird pronunciations of name stuff, I would take the names down and, check with the officials. Because that worked out last week, but they told me the names, but then I didn't have the sheet, so I couldn't mark it down, and then I just announced the names when I got back up there anyway. I'm trying to be polite, but, I might have still screwed up a name. So I'm going through the lineups now, and I forgot the referee paper, so I didn't even do that part. I just skipped it, I'll wing it. Hope there's no hard names. There wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It was pretty normal names, or at least phonetically acceptable pronunciations of names, I think. Right? Get through that part. Get through the starting lineups. I'm going through the other team's lineup, and for the most part, rosters are by number. So you have your linemen in one section, your wide receivers or tight ends, maybe like around the line somehow, and then your backs, and then the quarterback can be kind of anywhere in there in that mix. But their lineup wasn't quite organized that way. So I get through the line, and I'm going to like the wide receiver, and I announce one of the guys who's just a defensive starter. I'm like, crap. It's like, I marked this wrong. That guy's not actually a starter. But I can't go, I'm sorry, he's not starting. It's actually this other kid. I think I announced like 12 names for their starters. Congratulations, kid that doesn't start offense. But I don't know if everybody's counting. It's like, there's 1, there's 2, 3. Did he announce 12 names? They're going to play 12 people? They're going to take a penalty on every play? Or at least the first play? So, screwed that. Go to Ferry. Get the whole, all right. And now the starting lineup for your Purple Riders. So we're kind of back on track. I've got defensive and offensive starters to announce. And I talked to the coaches, so these are good. I go through the defense. I get through the defense, right? And I because it's not a regular starting lineup sheet where I can, kind of just, here's your linemen, here's the linebackers, here's the defensive backs, and then just, regardless of what the number is, I have to go, everything's in order by number. So it's not necessarily by position. So I got to label it the order of people, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back and forth, and I make it through the defense. All right. Go to the next sheet. And now your offensive starters. And I start with the linemen again, right? And I've got things highlighted. Well, as soon as I start looking at the sheet, and I've got the wrong kid highlighted. I was like, wait a second, this is the wrong sheet. I was like, this is the wrong sheet. This is a sheet from last week that I was practicing with. I was like, this isn't the right sheet. and I don't have all of the starters marked correctly on this one. So I got to find my other sheet. Where's that other sheet at? So I'm like trying to go through, find my other sheet, remember who I've announced already, and then get to the next person. I get through, I'm kind of pausing a little bit. It's a little broken up. The guy who does the music comes in. He's like, "Yeah, you're kind of fading in and out." I was like, and I think about it afterwards. It's because I was looking for stuff and still trying to announce, which doesn't work. So the moral of the story is I got some prep work to do, right? And I've got some work to do to prepare for this kind of game where there's a lot of stuff going on. The AD's new. He wasn't sure what to do. I told him afterwards, I was like, yeah, it works better if you line them up down there, then you just tell me who's getting ready to come across, and then I'll just read that person's. Or if you line them up in the order you want them to, that match the book, and we go that way. And I got to get a book ahead of time so that I can mark off what I want to read, because I was reading like 2 and 3 paragraphs for some people. I mean, like, and the stuff didn't really flow in a way that there's just so much information in there, just this information dump, and it was a lot of reading, especially halftime's normally my break. I get to that halftime, I've got like a minute and a half before the half's over because things were kind of screwed up. Well, the official put 3 more minutes back on the clock. I'm trying to eat, right? Like halftime's when you eat. So I'm trying to eat. Third quarter gets ready to start. So, I'm making announcements. I'm eating pizza while I'm announcing. It's horrible. It's bad. But the game it's a 35-point game at halftime. It's not that close. But then you have some younger guys get in the game. It's getting their name called at the end of the game. They're scoring touchdowns, making big hits. So you still have to bring, a level of excitement for those kids, for those families that are seeing their kid, out there on the field. But I think when you look at anything, even if it's a job or a day at school or what have you, or announcing games or playing games, right? The first game of the year was good. It was a really, really good game. And you want the next one to be better. You want to keep getting better and better, but sometimes it's not realistic, right? Eventually you're going to take that step back, right? And the question is, do you take a step back to where, okay, now yeah, good, and then, okay, this one's back a little bit, but it's still good, or last week was really good, and then now this week's down here, and then so now this week we got to bounce back. If it's better than last week, cool, but got some work to do. Got some prep work to do. I need to really lay stuff out how I want to announce it. I think that'll help me and get rid of the other sheets that are kind of screwing me up. Because I thought I could do it one way, but it's not. It's not good. Not that good. And then one coach is like, "Oh, we change starters every game." Well, I'll write them down in pencil. I'm not going to erase them, but I'm going to come with offensive and defensive starters on one sheet and read them off, kind of like what I did last year. And I think this week will be a good game. 2 teams undefeated. I mean, they're both 2-0. The other team has stomped both teams that they've played, and we stomped one and had to come back and beat Shadyside, but it looked like we were better than them. Last year, Union Local barely beat us, and we only won 1 game. So it's hard to tell exactly how good they are. They've had certain guys, playing at the varsity level for 4 years. So they've been around. They got some experience now. They're bigger guys. Are they going to be? Do they keep on improving from last year, or do they lose a couple of guys now where they're going to take a step back? I know they lost a wide receiver, but the way they played this past Friday, they just ran the ball a ton. So Ferry competed in all phases of the game. Last week executed everywhere. They're not going to be able to have any slip ups or missteps against this team. I think. I'm not sure how good the other coach is. Like I said, they beat us last year. That was the first time they beat us in a while. Maybe a couple years. They've been down. It's just, was that the beginning of the resurgence? Are they way better than we are now because of the way they were trending, or was it just a one-off? And actually, Ferry has still more talent, and even though these other kids have experience, don't know. So that's why I think it'll be a good game. It'll be good on good for the most part, and we'll see what comes out of it. But I will be more prepared this week, and I'll try to set myself up for success. That's the big thing. That was a lesson I learned this week. So, all right, well, that's all I got. Be careful. Be COVID free. I'll let you know how it goes. Later.